It is with nothing but pure delight that we bring you Wednesday evening's edition of Game On right here from the studios of News Central. My name is Babatunde Koiki. Thank you again for joining us as we'll be bringing you all the latest news from the African Games. Nigeria is doing pretty well in the medal zone, not too badly, especially in weightlifting. And believe it or not, we might have had more if only MMA was not a demonstration sport. But we'll be talking about the future of the sport at the Games and also on the continent very, very soon. Of course, we'll be talking about matches played in the Nigeria Professional Football League. It's looking pretty good. The table has changed somewhat. And believe it or not, one team that was rock bottom has moved slightly off the bottom. We'll be talking about all that and more if the magic hands of Mikey Doko have started to bear fruit all the way in Owerri. We're talking of so much more to go on. Then don't forget that the UEFA Champions League matches going on tonight. Right now, we bring you live updates on the show. Welcome once again. Don't forget we're streaming live on our social media handles. That's X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also streaming live on YouTube as well. You know the handle at NCentral TV. Well, I'm being joined by one person, but well, you know what they say about what women can do much better than men. I think she makes up for more than. She's probably two men in one in terms of her presence and her knowledge of the sport. I'm talking about Onyinyechi Ogu-Obaroh. She's here with me. Together, we'll be bringing you all that is happening at the Africa Games in Africa, Europe, and beyond. Onye, it's just me and you.
Yes. We're going to part of this
everybody ran away. They just left me your company.
And a woman stays.
Hey, see. There you go. So always remember, when your men abandon you, Onye will be there for you. Just so you know. So without further ado, let's quickly get to the Africa Games, shall we? Lots happening today. Nigeria doing not too badly because in cricket early today, Nigeria's women's cricket national team actually defeated their Ugandan counterparts in the third place game to win a bronze medal. Really heartwarming. Nigeria actually opted to won the toss and opted to bowl first. Began the game not too well, losing 3 wickets within the first 3 overs, but managed to bounce back thanks to some excellent work by Salome Sunday and Abigail Igbobie. At the end of the day, Nigeria recorded 58 runs for 5 wickets in 16.2 overs, winning by 3 wickets to spare. And Salome Igbobie's impressive performance in the bronze medal game also earned her Player of the Match award. Onye, don't forget that just before the Africa Games started, the Nigerian Cricket Federation actually put together a competition, brought in other African countries as well, and Nigeria did pretty well. So I think that was really good preparation just in time, just before the African Games.
Yes, very sensitive federation there. Of course, great one for them to have this preparation games ahead of the African Games. I remember that that Kubuka, that's the 220 African qualifiers that happened here in Nigeria. It's a good one. The Yellow Greens ladies, they faced Uganda before, so looking at the third place match, I was really confident that they would overcome once again. But they started late in that encounter, but it's great that they bounced back. 5-wicket wins, that's a great start. Bronze medal, this is making its debut at the African Games, and we're getting a bronze medal. I'll say it's a good one for
I would agree, but
the Yellow Greens.
I will always continue to wonder why, for example, in West Africa, cricket isn't as popular as you would expect in East Africa or even Southern Africa. Of course, we do know that it's a big sport in South Africa and Namibia as well. Then there's also parts of East Africa as well. But for some reason, the places like Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, English-speaking countries, cricket is not as big as it should be.
Yes, it's not as big, but we're welcoming it. I remember that it's always so great with the South Africans, not with their ladies, their guys. They've always been there. They're even the top in the world when it comes to cricket.
Definitely in the top 10 in the world.
And India, not forgetting India.
True.
But in Africa, I would say West Africans are embracing it now. We see Kenya, we see East Africans like Kenya, Uganda, who are doing well in cricket now. For West Africa, Nigeria, Ghana not yet there yet. But for Nigeria, they can be the leader right now when it comes to cricket. And also see that we are seeing fans in stadia.
Yes, very
in
true.
cricket ovals, we are seeing fans. That means we have fans who understand the game, who are ready to welcome the game.
Not everybody likes football.
Yes, not everybody.
That's an honest truth.
Not everybody.
But for cricket, you do get the impression that while the Federation is doing a lot more can be done in terms of sensitization, also growing the sport at the grassroots, investment in the sport from corporate entities. You get that a lot more can still be done.
Yes, more can still be done. Nigeria is taking the lead here. I can see what the Federation is doing. They're also using the cricket oval. In Unilag, we've got a cricket oval there in Unilag. I saw a beautiful one there. So if we can have more people understand the sport, get orientation for what the sport is all about, then I think more fans, more interest will make the federation get more support to, encourage people to play this sport.
Follow the sports.
Yes, the ministry also can support the sport, because what these girls have done here in the African Games is just a big step. It's a big step for a beginning for the federation to do more. Bronze medal, they can show it anywhere.
Yeah, that they are bronze medal winners at the African Games. But what about those who argue that maybe cricket is not exciting? It's not like football. It's not like maybe boxing.
Who says cricket is not
like
exciting?
Rugby. I mean, that's what some people argue. That it's not. There's
They really do not understand the sport.
High-octane kind of sports. Maybe that's why it hasn't grown as much as it has.
I won't say cricket is not exciting. I disagree. Cricket is as exciting as football.
That's
if
you understand the sport anyway.
Yeah, that's if you understand the sport. That's why I want more to be done on the African scene, so we can have more fans understand what cricket is all about. It's a cool sport. It's not too physical as like football or even rugby. But I think rugby and cricket share almost the same technique. Yeah,
really?
Rugby and cricket share You win a toss, you bowl.
Okay.
Unlike rugby, where you have to win tries, use tries for a goal and all that.
So you would advocate that maybe the federation and maybe probably even the Ministry of Youth and Sports, maybe even the Ministry of Education should get together and maybe start introducing this at grassroots level, secondary school level,
good step.
in that manner in order to grow the sport. You would advocate for that, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would advocate for that. I think in schools we should have students who are interested in doing not too physical sport get involved with cricket. I remember when the Yellow Greens, that's the male team, they made history when they became the only African team to go for a competition like the T20 International, the under-19s. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I remember.
They made history. Yes. From there, cricket has been embraced in Nigeria. So if you can have students, come on, what are we doing with the NIS? Let's have, let's go further. Encourage people to embrace cricket, understand the technique of the sport. This is one sport I would really like to put all my attention on because it's not too physical. Okay. So we should start from the grassroots, also from education. Students in classes should be able to learn how to, use the bat, how to understand the techniques, how to bowl, how to do the catches, Great one. The techniques will be greatly understood by, little children. So
a lot of work still needs to be done in terms of education for cricket. It's a great sport, to be honest. One of the most widely followed sports in the world, especially if you're from Asia, where it is. I can't begin to describe cricket madness in Asia. I talk about India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, that part of the world. Cricket is religion. So it's something that I really think that the Nigerian Cricket Federation and the Ministry of Youth and Sports can really get into. Still sticking with the African Games, Nigeria has continues to dominate in the weightlifting event. It is now 15 gold medals. I repeat that, 15 gold medals out of 22 that Nigeria has garnered at the ongoing Africa Games coming from weightlifting alone. That's absolutely incredible. And believe it or not, most of those medals have been won by Nigeria's women's weightlifters.
Tell them again.
you just have to throw that in.
Tell them again.
But Ruth Ayodele and Joy Eze, they did brilliantly today, opening the standings, opening the proceedings with 3 gold medals each in the 64 kilogram and 71 kilogram categories. Both of them are winning gold in the snatch, the clean and jerk, and combined in the 64 and 71 kilogram category to win 6 gold medals. Later on, the men followed, not in such a golden fashion, but also impressive fashion as well. 21-year-old Abayomi Adeyemi, who incidentally, his father was also a weightlifter for Nigeria. He also did pretty well. He won 2 bronze medals and a silver medal, while Desmond Akano added 2 silver and 1 bronze medals in the men. That's in the men's 96 kilogram event. That's Desmond. But in the 106 kilogram category, it was Abayomi Adeyemi. So it's 15 gold medals for Nigeria weightlifting right now. That is phenomenal.
Yes.
Absolutely phenomenal. Nobody saw this one coming. Of course, everybody expected us to win gold in wrestling, which we did. The Nigerian women's team basically wiped out the
dominated, totally.
Wiped out the women's wrestling division. 6 gold medals each. 6 gold medals
in different categories.
In different categories. But weightlifting has been a major, major surprise, if you ask me.
I think these weightlifters are, channeling all the energy from the economy, you know, to lift those
Economy of
weights.
frustrations,
I'm
everything,
telling you. But great one for the Nigerian weightlifters. Yes, the women, they are dominating the medal haul.
Not as much, but they're in the conversation.
And I was a bit surprised. I think they came to add cherry to the cake to what they did at the Commonwealth Games, you know. We saw the ladies dominate at the Commonwealth Games, you know, lifting very tremendous weight kgs there. So great one, clean and jerk, dominating, the snatch, dominating, totaling up great numbers there. But I'm a bit concerned about the male category, that's the male team. Yeah. I was wondering why they did not wear the kits. The green white color.
No, you don't want to go there.
John O'Connor went for his own lift, and I'm seeing him in a red and white, and I'm wondering, is this a Moroccan or a Tunisian? I had to check out the name before I noticed that he was a Nigerian. Come on, what happened to the kids?
So this is one of the biggest problems that has been recurring in Nigerian sports. The fact that the Federal Ministry of Sports Development and also the associations themselves, they're not working hand in hand, in tandem, as it should be in terms of providing equipment, especially apparel for the Nigerian teams. You do recall that this was a major issue going into the last Olympic Games where Nike brought one set.
Yes, an athlete had to wash,
another set
to use
again. So I'm not surprised. I don't want to tell you some of the things I know, but I do know as a matter of fact that individuals who do not work for the ministry, who do not work for the federations, have been asked as a last resort to quickly go and buy to go to shops and buy apparel for Nigerian national teams who are competing abroad. It's not bad.
This is a competition which was postponed as at 2023.
It's been postponed 3 times.
And federations should be able to step up their game. I shouldn't be seeing something like that. Heat problem. You're representing Nigeria, but we're seeing another color. I'm even confused of, are you Nigerian or not? The truth about this is it's time for us to get our acts together, you know, in Nigeria, especially when we go for competitions like this. The Ghanaians are already reeling out the whole criticisms and all that, saying they also had kids problem, they had equipment problem. We should have been hearing that with the visiting teams, like Team Nigeria. I think it's time for us to get our acts together. You know?
So another question I want to ask you is, must we wear foreign apparel? Must we wear the Adidas, the Nikes,
what happened to the home designers?
There are companies in Nigeria who make quality
and they'll come through.
Yeah, so
they'll come through.
Is this something we need to be looking at, internalizing, thinking about, instead of probably wanting to wear these big name brands that they have to ship from abroad?
I think it's one thing we should look at. The Table Tennis Federation.
Because there are federations in Nigeria that actually wear these apparel. Maybe something that the Federal Ministry of Sports Development should look into.
Yes.
And probably contract. Of course, we're talking about buy Nigeria and, you know, spend on Nigerian companies. Maybe it's something we should be looking at as well.
It's really something we should look at today because, as I did say, the Table Tennis Federation is using a homegrown designer, and they're looking good. Yeah. They never complain about their kits whenever they go for competition. You could see that table tennis started at 3rd of March for this African Games, and they're done in good colors. No problem there. Nobody wearing a different color away from the national color. Maybe this is what the federation they should go take a leap from the Table Tennis Federation, and maybe we can, these problems that we're saying about kids not getting to the team on time or anything.
It's the least that we should be talking about. I mean, the least we should be talking about apparel. And I think it's very, very key that we should be looking at. And very soon on the show, we'll bring in the managing director of one of Nigeria's foremost sportswear manufacturing companies live on this show to come and talk about the problems that he's been facing as well, and his own plans to grow his brand beyond Nigeria. Started as a small company, it's doing pretty well, kitting multiple teams in the Nigerian firmament, multiple teams in the MPFL as well. We're bringing him very soon to this show to come and talk about that. And I remember seeing that someone on social media saying with nostalgia that he misses the days when he would see Nigerian athletes compete in green apparel and see that name Nigeria blazing quite boldly on it. And he was talking about that, especially as it had to do with weightlifting. Still speaking about the ongoing 13th African Games, believe it or not, mixed martial arts, MMA, is actually making a debut at the competition, but as a demonstration event, which means that all the medals garnered will not count towards the final medal tally of any country that wins, which is a shame because Nigeria has done incredibly well. 5 gold medals Nigeria has won in this competition so far. 11 African teams participated. National teams represented were Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Egypt, Ghana, Libya, Mauritius, Nigeria, Sudan, and Uganda. And Nigeria won 5 gold medals, while Mauritius followed with 3. The event taking place at the world famous Bukom Arena in Accra. And it's been officially recognized by the Africa Association of African Sports Federations and GAMA, that's the ruling body for mixed martial arts in Ghana. That's the Ghanaian Mixed Martial Arts Association. And you get the impression that mixed martial arts is trying to make its entry into African Games. Hopefully that someday they will get recognition by the Olympic movement and one day be represented in the Olympic Games. Well, African Games are ensuring that, well, they're making the groundwork ready for that in case it does finally happen. Well, joining us all the way from Lagos, right here in Lagos, is a MMA or combat sports specialist. I'm talking about Bamidele Bakare joining us to talk about MMA at the Africa Games and, of course, the future of the sport on the continent. Bamidele, thank you so much for joining us. Well, Nigeria winning 5 gold medals in mixed martial arts at these ongoing African Games. That's really, really heartwarming considering the fact that the sport is making its debut.
All right. Thank you for having me on the show. You guys are doing really great. So Nigeria's performance, trust me, is very impressive. It shows how much Nigerians have involved themselves in the sport, considering the fact that we also have international champions who are from Nigerian descent, like Kamaru Usman, like who have been supporting the sport here in Nigeria over time. Velade Soya and the likes of them. Also, it's also a good thing that Africa as a whole, not just Nigeria, is representing globally in the MMA space. So right now, Nigeria doing so well at the All-African Game is very impressive. It shows that there are more champions to come out of Nigeria in the MMA. We know in boxing, they are doing really great. A lot of our boxers are going out there doing very impressive. Elizabeth Oshoba, likes of them like that. So MMA right now is really growing, and I feel there are more opportunities, there are more fighters, even if you go to the stadium. It's evident from the result from this professional state. They have 5 gold medals. That's passion from it, and it's very impressive and commendable.
Well, I have to ask you, Bamidele, I mean, looking at the diversity of the medals, it's been both men and women winning these gold medals, and in multiple categories. I mean, there was Richard Muzan, who defeated Fanny Dago of the Ivory Coast, winning in the 120 kilogram men's super heavyweight category, and even Joy Obanla winning in the 65 kilograms category, defeating Abubakar Winnie of Ghana via TKO in round 1. So we can see even at both ends of the scale and in both disciplines, both the men and women's disciplines, Nigeria is doing pretty well. That shows that we do have some capacity in the sport, doesn't it?
It is. Like I said, their performance is super impressive. And obviously, we should be expecting more from them. Also, the MMA Association here in Nigeria is doing so much to support them. But obviously, they will need more support from the federal government to believe more in them. Because trust me, not even all these guys. There's some other guys who are at the stadium practicing regularly, fighting day to day. They don't even have hope to get to the professionals. But they put passion into it, just like you've seen normal Nigerian guys playing football, boxing, they put passion into it. Because if there's no passion and determination, trust me, they wouldn't have gone there to perform so good, considering everything happening in our country, But this time around, they just feel like, if this is what I have to do, I have to put all into it, I like to bring in the international guys, because I see them as motivation. If our guys down here who are really hustling to get up there and see a Kamaru Usman, doing so great, being the welterweight champion of the world for many years, defending it, Velade Soya in the middleweight division. It's very impressive, I think it makes them dream better, regardless of what we're going through here in Nigeria. It's evident from their result, right? Even with the fact that they don't get so much support, they still went out there and made us proud, getting gold medals, It's very commendable and it's very impressive.
Okay.
But I have one big question to ask. Can we keep up with this sport? I know it requires a lot of safety guidelines, professionalism from the referees and all. But can we keep up with this sport? The Americans will involve in these, Europeans will involve in these. They know how to, get safety by the side. Can Africa keep up with this sport at the Games?
Okay, good. This is a very, very vital question, to be honest with you. It has always come to my thought, especially if I feel like boxing bouts, MMA bouts, physically, and I feel like, oh, okay, can we actually achieve this? But hey, in our own little way, I'm not like supporting them like 100%, but the officials usually make provision for medicals. Obviously there will be professional doctors to look them out. Now, the funding and the support to make sure that they get the best treatment. Hey, I'm not part of that association, but I know somehow, some way they provide those things for them. But it's a very, very vital question that should be looked into by the federal government. For these guys to go out there and perform this great, they will say they're dealing with a whole lot. But if those guys go international and become very big, they will say that's our very own. So is it sustainable? I think if they put if they get more support, and support can't really come from individuals. It has to come from the government. And if you have individuals who just feel like, okay, the government don't want to do it, okay, I'll promote these guys, but it's a very crucial thing to look out for, to know if they can sustain it, the medicals, if anything goes wrong, anyone can get like a very serious injuries on, in the octagon, in the ring. It's not so cool, considering that they're representing a country and, they don't get hot and they can't get good treatment. It's not so cool. So I feel it's a very vital question, and I think the federal government and maybe personal promoters, individual promoters rather, should look into, making it better.
Okay, Bamidele. I not to contradict on here. I don't. It's a good question, to be honest. But let's be honest. There are other combat sports on the African continent and internationally, karate, judo, boxing as well, where people could get injured, and nobody's ever talking about medical attention for those ones. But I believe that it wouldn't be any different for MMA. Look at the quality of the gloves that they're using. They're not using the typical 3-ounce, 6-ounce gloves that MMA fighters use. They're using normal boxing gloves in order to.
You can see that they don't even have protective gear. It's on their head.
I mean, in MMA, nobody wears protective gear on their head.
Olympic boxing, we see them wear protective gear.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
At least this is kickboxing.
Maybe because it's a demonstration sport. I can understand. Maybe I can understand.
That's why you should be safe the more.
But there was a case earlier during the competition where there were issues regarding refereeing, where a lot of people believe that one of the bouts should have been stopped earlier when it seemed that one of the fighters was in trouble. That's something we really need to look into, considering the fact it's a new sport. It's a relatively new sport, growing sport in Africa. Quality of refereeing must be paramount in order to protect the athletes.
Okay, so first of all, regardless of how bad how bad the situation might be, all these guys all these athletes, I beg your pardon, all these athletes would have signed some sort of agreement before going into the ring or what have you, to know that where you're going into, you can get injured, this. There's always that part of it. There's always a trust, like, okay, this is what you are going into. So regarding the referee, sometimes obviously the referees are professional, but we're humans. So sometimes the referee might have gone with his own discretion. Forgetting, you might not forget, you might just feel like, okay, maybe this opponent.
Maybe he's busy watching the fight. Maybe he's busy enjoying the fight. It's a possibility.
Sometimes it's be a professional.
Not necessarily enjoying. Sometimes you might feel like, okay, to some people, you might feel like, oh my God, this guy needs help. And to the referee, you might feel like, oh, I think this guy still has some things to offer. And he might be wrong. And sometimes it might be true, because it might be right rather, because the opponent himself might be like, can still go in this bout. But you see this person's condition and you're like, no, you can't fight no more. He might have been wrong. I'm not supporting him, but obviously he might have gone with his discretion, because he is the one right there in the ring. What you're seeing outside the ring, he might not see everything you're seeing from outside the ring, because from outside the ring, they're watching he himself.
I think it's better safe than sorry, in my opinion. Anyway, but finally, Bamidele, before I let you go, I have to ask you this question. MMA, it's virtually new sport in Africa, especially the Africa Games. But we've seen it in professional ranks here on the continent. We know the EFC in South Africa, excellent league. We also know that in Nigeria here, there are also efforts to get MMA off the ground. And it's growing. It's been growing. It started out with a reality show, and we've been seeing regular events as well. What is the future of MMA? In your opinion, both for the amateurs, like the African Games that we're seeing, possibly continental-wide competitions, and also for the professional ranks?
To be honest with you, I would have, maybe some years back, it would have sounded scary or feel like it won't grow. But from even the result from the All-African Games, you can tell how the future, what the future holds for MMA in Nigeria. A whole lot of people want to put so much into it, considering the fact that the way the MMA has been, presently UFC, knowing that we've had Nigerian champions, Kamaru Usman, we've had Israel Adesanya, who are doing excellently well.
Francis Ngannou too, formerly in the UFC and now in the PFL.
No, he's still in the UFC.
No, the PFL now.
Yeah, and their wins are very impressive. If you know how they rose up the ranks, so you can be okay. Especially Francis Ngannou. Let's say Kamaru Usman grew up, in the US. But Francis Ngannou, and now we have people like Kamaru Usman, big ups to him, coming to support the sport here in Nigeria to an extent. So even if there are no major chances of taking everyone over there, but you just feel like there is hope. Like maybe sometime, someday, I can be a world champion. Encouragement goes a long way, and good support. It's just that who are we to ask our federal government? We can only beg. But right now, I don't think this is an aspect the federal government wants to focus. We really focus on, even though it's not a bad thing to suggest, but they will see that is that what we're talking about right now. But if you go out there, going through your own route, you will become successful, and they'll be like, that's our son right there. It's not a bad thing, but you have the chance now to make it easier for those people to achieve these great names, these great things for the country. You're not supporting, but that's why, every independent promoter, I always respect them, even when they call me to come around, to do this with them. Everything is all about the passion. Whenever they see a boxing promoter, an MMA promoter, a pundit like myself, I'm like, okay, this is cool. I might not be able to give you money or take it to the big stage, but whatever I can,
support.
We'll keep doing it. So we'll keep encouraging them. But like she raised, it's a very valid point to know that health and safety is very key, regardless of the fact that you will see that they know what they sign up for. They know what they sign up for.
True.
But when you're fighting, it's a different ball game. There was this story of like a sparring session
in boxing.
At the local gym.
At the local gym. He died later on. Yeah, we're aware of that. So it is what it is. But we have to. We really have to go, Bamidele. But I understand what you're saying.
No problem.
Hopefully, the private individuals who are invested in this will get some form of government support. It might not be in terms of money, but support nonetheless in order to grow the sport and also to grow the ecosystem as well. We've been speaking to Bamidele Bakare, combat sports pundit and expert. Thank you so much for your time and so for joining us on Game On.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Oh, well, so it's that's done and dusted. Nigeria winning 5 gold medals in MMA, making its debut at the African Games. It's a demonstration sport. Unfortunately, those 5 gold medals do not count for Nigeria's eventual gold tally, but
not good for Ghana too. Ghana got 10.
Yeah, Mauritius also won 3 as well.
But it will not count for them.
It won't count, unfortunately. We're still watching Game On. We'll take a short break when we return. Still more to come on the show. Thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching Game On, coming to you live from the studios of News Central TV here in Lagos, Nigeria. Don't forget, you can watch us on channel 422 on DSTV and channel 274 on Star Times. And you can also join us using our social media handles, where we would very much like to hear what you have to say regarding sports, not only in Nigeria, but on the continent and also globally as well. Well, we'll be talking about the Africa Games. We've been enjoying the spectacle, but the people of Ghana themselves, they have mixed feelings about hosting this competition at this particular point in time. From what we've gathered, Ghana has spent over $200 million to put together this competition, and some people believe that that money could have been better spent in other facets of the economy. Earlier today, I was speaking with Mr. Joe Jackson, a Ghanaian economist of repute, and he had plenty to say regarding Ghana's expenditure on the African Games, the costs, the benefits, and he believes that, well, I'll just let you listen to Mr. Joe Jackson.
Much better spent. Much better spent. Listen, this is an economy that is on its knees. Economy with the highest rates of unemployment you've seen before. Economy where it is only in recent months that inflation has fallen from over 50% to 26%. Economy where the CD has gone from 6 CDs to $1 to today 13 CDs to $1 in 18 months. This doesn't make sense. And at some point when the collapse happened, the government should have gone back to the Sports Organization for Africa and said, I hold up my hands. I can't do this. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. But we've gone ahead to do it. Why should I believe that this new university at Botiman will be any different? I'm sorry if I sound negative. I'm sorry if I sound like sour grapes. But when people are hungry, when people are without jobs, when people are in despair, spending money on the games doesn't make sense. In any case, as Ghanaians, what did we do? We didn't even spend enough money on the local population so that we could put up a good showing at the games. How many medals have we won? In how many disciplines?
Well, Mr. Joe Jackson, the way he's been speaking about Ghana, you could almost think it was Nigeria he was talking about. And he talked about 6 CDs moving to 18 CDs. Mr. Jackson, it's how much is it? $1 to a naira now? Last I checked, what to 1,600 now? Yeah. But I mean, you've been tracking this story for the past 2 days or 3 days. Brilliant work by you. This is Ghana's 240 million investment expenditure on the African Games. They've spent 195 million on construction of facilities alone. And there you see it, $34 million spent on the University of Ghana Stadium and Rugby Stadium, $16 million on the Games Village, and $145 million on the brand new Botiman Sports Complex that was built by UK contractors, not even Ghanaian contractors. And you kind of get what he's saying, that this money, considering the parlor state of the Ghanaian economy, they could have spent it on roads. He specifically mentioned if we had spent it on roads from the rural areas to bring food from the rural areas into the cities, it will drive down inflation and drive down the pressure on the common Ghanaians.
Yes, so a lot of the agitations are coming from what will happen to these facilities after the games. Will it be of good use for Ghanaians? Because the truth is, when you have to spend so much on that Games Village, who gets to use it after the African Games?
Well, I mean, at the 2003 African Games that we hosted, remember the Games Village was turned into accommodation for people. They bought it, and yes, it became
Ghanaians
a housing
are not buying
project.
that. They're not buying that at all. They're wondering what will happen to those facilities when the African Games is done. I remember that the Baba Yara Stadium suffered a lot.
Yeah,
very true. It was turned to a parade ground for elections, during Ghanaian elections. And right now we are seeing
all over the world
all the time. So that's why people are concerned.
Uses stadiums for major.
And I think they've not forgiven the sports ministry for the abysmal performance of the Black Stars from the African Cup of Nations, because money also went into the campaign of the Black Stars at the AFCON over there in Côte d'Ivoire. So Ghanaians, their worry is still vital, is very, very vital, because what will happen to these things?
We did hear that the Botiman Sports Complex will be turned into a University of Sports afterwards. But Mr. Joe Jackson did mention the fact that there's already a University of Sports in Winneba. Why do they need another one? And you begin to ask yourself these questions that African governments and these white elephant projects, it's not only limited to Africa.
They don't put into consideration what will benefit the masses. I think that's what this is all about. They don't really put into consideration. And though we've not heard any complaints from the Games Village, we've not heard anything from the pitches used for the football matches of this game, but athletes are really, really angry with their welfare, especially Ghanaian athletes. Now, all these monies
Mr.
put
Joe
in here.
Jackson spoke a lot about. He said about the Ghanaian cycling team using aluminium, second-hand aluminium bikes instead of carbon fiber bikes.
Yes.
The badminton team getting their rackets a day before the competition.
Not even getting
start.
so familiar with the use of that racket.
Wow.
I heard one of the interviews from the badminton player. He said, I've never even played professionally before.
Wow.
I got my bat a day before.
My racket,
I beg your pardon, a day before. I'm not even used to using the racket.
Wow.
Now, a lot of them are complaining. Some of them had to, go to the games village or to their sporting centers from the trunk of their coaches.
Wow. No,
So
I heard pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Coaches had pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Athletes had to climb into the back and be transported to the vet. I mean, really, really. And I don't think it's limited to Ghana. It's a worldwide thing. The use of facilities post-competition. We do know that after the FIFA World Cup, some of the stadiums were, the one in Brasilia was used as a BRT depot. There were parking buses there. And also,
I'm hoping that they can also turn this to a Pelé Stadium, that of the voting
please.
Maybe.
The Pele Stadium, really?
Maybe.
Of course, they do have
FIFA
heroes.
has asked everyone to.
They don't necessarily have to do it. Ghana has plenty of heroes
I'm
that
just
they can.
giving them, a clip,
Tips, yeah, okay. Maybe we should listen to Onye's tips as well. But hopefully, I'm hoping that the national governments worldwide would consider sustainable use of facilities and long-term projects that can benefit the populace. We did see at the Qatar 2022 Olympics where they built modular stadiums that would be dismantled after the competition. Some of them even given as gifts to deserving deserving countries in order to ensure that as minimal waste is acquired in these competitions. Let's move on very quickly and talk about the table tennis event that happened at the Africa Games, and especially globally, because there has been movement in the world rankings, the ITTF world rankings, and no surprises, Nigeria's superstar Aruna Quadri is still ranked number 1 in Africa and 11th in the world. There you see him at number 11. Aruna Quadri, 11th in the world. He's not doing too badly, Aruna Quadri. And this was just coming bare heels after the Africa Games. Really good performance by Aruna Quadri, way ahead of any other African on that list, ranked in the top 20. That's really, really good for Aruna Quadri. And also another good movement as well for Nigeria's own
Edem.
Yeah,
Edem
Ofyong Edem. She's also made some small strides as well, moving 45 places up. It's
been a long time coming,
Yeah, to
long time coming for this
in the world.
rise. I think she did better at the African Games for her to finish with a bronze medal today. The biggest rise we've seen in the women's table tennis ranking before was that of Fatima Bello, when she broke out during the African competition in Molade Okoya Thomas.
Yes, yeah.
Hall. So, but big rise for Edem. She has come a long way. I've been waiting for this rise. So 97, the senior women's category.
Climbing 45 places up.
I'm waiting for when Nigeria would dominate Egypt. Come on, what is Egypt doing right?
Egypt is spending the equivalent of Nigeria's football budget on table tennis.
Yes.
So that tells you something.
Yes, Tunde. And that's why they're dominating, really taking the whole laurels when it comes to table tennis. Look at Omar Asa from the African Games down
he's already
at
Singapore.
Smash.
Yeah.
And he's also winning his games.
Well, let's quickly listen to Omar Asa after he won his event at the ongoing Singapore Smash.
Today I was very sharp on attacking from first point. I think this what made the difference. I was trying to attack as much as I can, even from a defense position. I tried to re-attack again, and I'm very happy that it works well, alhamdulillah.
Okay, Omar Asa, a good friend of Aruna Quadri, believe it or not, one of his training partners, already moving from the African continent to the global stage, competing at the Singapore Smash, where he's already won a game today. Let's move on very quickly and tell you that 10 matches were played in the Nigeria Professional Football League today, and we had a hat-trick. Yes, we had a hat-trick in one of the games. Let's quickly show you the results from all the games that were played today. A big game also happened in Remo, where Remo Stars also defeated Eyimba by a lone goal as well. There you see it on your screen. Plateau United, they hosted Gobe United. They won 4-0. Silas then Roth with a hat-trick in that particular game. Doma United lost at home to Shooting Stars. Big surprise in that game. Sunshine Stars also defeating Katsina United by a lone goal. And that goal actually had consequences on here because the coach of Katsina United, Bala Usman, but he resigned immediately after that game. We'll be bringing you more details about that later on. But Haaland, I think the magic is here already. They defeated Abia Warriors by 2-0. Lobby Stars, they were involved in a 5-goal thriller with Rivers United. They defeated them by 3-2 thanks to a winner in the 58th minute by Kumaga Sur. Gibson scoring a late consolation in the 81st minute. Didn't change anything. Enugu Rangers, they are yet to get a win after their 5-game winning streak. It's 2 consecutive draws, but getting a 1-1 draw away at Kano Pillars is a good result. Kwara United edging out Bielsa United 1-0. Niger Tornadoes also defeating Sporting Lagos 1-0. And of course, I talked about the fact that Remo Stars defeated Eimba 1-0. Alade scoring the winner in the 71st minute. Let's quickly show you the top 6 in the MPFL now. Lobby Stars still leading the way, looking pretty good for this title, 46 points, followed by Plateau United, who have scored the highest number of goals in this competition. Remember, they won 5-0 away from home, 4-1 again today. They cannot stop scoring. They're in second place with 44 points. Enugu Rangers in third place with 42 points. Remo Stars climb back into the top 4 with that win today over Eimba, 42 points. While Eimba are also on 42 points as well. But remember, Remo Stars have a game in hand.
Yes,
exactly.
one game.
So Kano Pillars are in 6th place. Let's look at the bottom 6. Believe it or not, Dry Bones shall rise again. Heartland off the bottom of the table. Never thought I'd see that one.
One place up.
One place up, but
it's a big win for them.
Movement all the same. Gobe United, rock bottom. Heartland just above them. Bayelsa United also in 18th place. Aqua United in 17th. Right above them, Rivers United. But believe, they have 3 games in hand, so you expect them to move out of that spot.
I'm surprised about Sporting Lagos, you know. They came for the Southwest Derby against Remo Stars with that dominant win. But look at them here, away from home, and they can't even score.
It's Nigeria. You win at home, you lose away from
neighbors.
home.
Of course, they are.
They really need to, it's their first season in the MPFL, so really should cut them some slack.
But they shouldn't have been that noisy, you know, for the first season.
Oh, God, you're just throwing jabs at this, at sporting fans, but they are really noisy. You should go and watch one of their fans, one of their games at the Mobology Bank Anthony Arena. Let's move on to international football and tell you that Bayern Munich, well, they've come under the hammer from UEFA. They've been told that their fans will be banned from their quarter-final UEFA Champions League fixture for reasons that you want to tell us about on here. What happened?
I'm not familiar with the reasons, but that would be a big loss for Bayern Munich with the fact that they have been struggling a bit in the Bundesliga. With Bayer Leverkusen having to wipe their records.
But no fans away from home, that's tough.
12th man, very important, and they will not be having the 12th man this time.
Well, still talking international football as well, let's also tell you that former Manchester United coach Ryan Giggs, winger of repute, former Wales manager, well, he's made a return, understated return somewhat to football. We hear that he's now taking the role of director of football at Salford United. Now, Salford United is a lower division. I think they compete in, that's not the champ. That's basically the third or fourth pyramid step in English football pyramid. But it's a real fall from grace to grass for Ryan Giggs, former international manager, former multiple Premier League winner, former Manchester United coach, just sliding back into football.
What really does he want to get from this lower league?
It's still something. He's way back. At least he's back in football.
I would say he's learning his ways, like learning the ropes.
No,
but
he's not.
Come on. I really don't know the reason behind
Well, he's part of the management team over at Salford United, along with his former teammates, Gary Neville and I think Nicky Butts, but he's part of the management team. So maybe it's just his own way to get back into football after being away for quite a while.
It's still a downgrade for him.
Yeah, I totally agree. UEFA Champions League matches are also going on tonight. We'll give you the live scores on your screen. Some good games to look forward to if you're looking for live football. Second leg games, it's Borussia Dortmund versus PSV Eindhoven. That was yesterday's results.
Games, yeah.
Arsenal defeating FC Porto 1-0. Match ended 1-0 after regulation time. Arsenal winning 4-2 on penalties. thanks to 2 excellent saves in the shootout by goalkeeper David Raya, while FC Barcelona defeated Napoli by 3-1, winning 3-2 on aggregate after playing a 1-1 draw away from home. And so that's the results that you can see of those matches currently going on right now in the UEFA Champions League. Is Borussia Dortmund versus PSV Eindhoven, while Atletico Madrid are also facing Internazionale Milan. We'll give you those results before we go. We'll show them to you live on your screen so you can have an idea of what is going on the UEFA Champions League. There you go. It's the Borussia Dortmund leading PSV Eindhoven 1-0, while Atletico Madrid are currently playing out a 1-1 draw with Internazionale Milan.
That's the biggest battle, you know.
That's the biggest battle in this particular fixture. So yeah, that's really good games currently going on in the UEFA Champions League. Well, Onye, I don't know about you, but it's been fun. It's been entertaining. I enjoyed every minute of it. Yeah.
Good, because you've got me, you know.
I can't wait for the guys to come back. I know you to join them as well. Probably make it a bit more spicier. But many thanks to everyone behind the scenes who also made this production possible. But before we go, let's let you know that 2 countries actually went to war because of a football match. Yeah, believe it or not. It was known as the Football War or the 100 Hours War, and it was a brief military conflict fought between El Salvador and Honduras, 2 Central American countries, and it went down in 1969. Well, existing tensions between the 2 countries coincided with rioting during the FIFA World Cup qualifier. In June 1969, Honduras and El Salvador met in a 2-legged 1970 FIFA World Cup qualifier. Fighting between the fans in the first game occurred in Tegucigalpa, capital of Honduras. Honduras won that one 1-0. The second leg happened on the 15th of June 1969. El Salvador won that one 3-0, which was followed by even greater violence. And but there was a playoff between both teams, took place in Mexico City, which El Salvador won 3-2 after extra time. But what happened afterwards? The same day, El Salvador dissolved all diplomatic ties with Honduras and the war began. That happened on the 14th of July 1969, while the El Salvadorian military launched an attack against Honduras. But thankfully, cooler heads prevailed. The Organization of American States negotiated a ceasefire on the 9th of the 18th of July, so which means that the war lasted for just 100 hours. People do incredible things for football, but I never believed that I see 2 countries go to war because of football. There were existing tensions between both countries initially, but fighting over football? War? Tanks?
Football is supposed to be a unifying factor.
I thought so myself.
This is the irony of football.
That's our show tonight. Many thanks once again to Onyinyechi, Ogu-Obaroh, and everybody behind the scenes who made this possible. My name is Babatunde Koiki. Wishing you a wonderful evening. Game On returns tomorrow. Bye-bye.